everyone, I hope all of you are doing good. I am Roshni from LearnerHub, the free learning platform where you get to learn physics, chemistry, maths, biology free of cost at learnerhub.com. So today I am here with the third video of the video series on coal and petroleum class 8 science, and in this video we are going to discuss in detail about petroleum and natural gas. So let's get started. Now, what comes to your mind when you think of petroleum? How do you relate to petroleum? So, the name itself looks like as if it is derived from petrol. So, from petrol, what comes to your mind? I think the first thing that comes to your mind maybe is your vehicle. So, the vehicles which you drive, whether it is a car, whether it is a bike or anything. So, what do they need? What acts as a fuel for these vehicles? Petrol or diesel. So diesel is mostly used for the heavy vehicles. So petrol, diesel are the things which act as fuel for all the vehicles. So from where do we get these petrol, diesel, kerosene? From where do we get them? So we get them all from petroleum. And petroleum is again just like coal, it is also an exhaustible natural resource. And how does it look like? Now it is no more solid, like how coal is, like it has a rock-like appearance, black in color, it is solid. But petroleum on the other hand is a liquid, it is a dark oily liquid. So petroleum also has a very unpleasant smell. In fact, if you ever visit a petrol pump or something, so you'll see that petrol also has a very specific smell. Now please remember that petroleum and petrol are not the same thing. Petrol is just one product which is obtained from petroleum, because petroleum is actually made up of a lot of different components, like how from coal we obtained coal tar, coal gas, coke. Similarly, from petroleum we obtain a lot of different products. So one such product is petrol. So it is composed of petrol, diesel, paraffin, wax, petroleum gas, etc. And we will see how exactly do we segregate these various components out of petroleum. So the first question again, how was petroleum formed? Now again, this is also a fossil fuel, so obviously it is also formed in a very similar way as coal was formed, but just that these were formed by decomposition of diatoms deep under the ground. What are diatoms? Diatoms are nothing but living organisms that once lived inside the sea. So these are like tiny living organisms which are found in the sea. Now, when these organisms died, what happened was they went towards the bottom of the sea floor. Like normally, when these organisms were alive, they were like swimming and they were present on the water, maybe towards the surface or something. But when they died, they tend to become heavier and they went towards the sea floor. So they went towards the bottom, and when that happens, as you can see here, these are the diatoms and they went towards the bottom of the sea. And then over a period of time, a lot of clay, sand, mud, rocks, stones, everything covered them up. So they got completely buried. Now in a very similar way here also again, when there was so much of pressure coming up, so the pressure increased, they went deeper and deeper under high temperature and high pressure. So these dead organisms turned into petroleum. So under high temperature and pressure, it formed oil. So petroleum is nothing but oil, right? It is an oily liquid. So often it is also termed as crude oil. Crude oil is the oil which is in its crude form. That is the oil which is directly extracted from the earth. So that is also called as crude oil. Or you can call it as petroleum as well. Now petroleum in this form, now even if we dig it out from deep inside, but petroleum in this form is not that useful. So in order to make it useful, it is important that we separate the components of the petroleum. So we saw that petrol, diesel, etc. form petroleum. So we need to get all those different components out of petroleum. So we will see how exactly can we separate the various constituents of petroleum. Now, before we learn about that process, we will first have to take that oil out from deep inside the earth. Like how in case of coal, we did coal mining. So in case of petroleum, we will do oil drilling. So in this, there are companies which drill through the earth to find deposits of oil and natural gas. So you see, in the oceans and all, they will set up the entire big apparatus, and then they will try to find out whether oil is present there or not. So there are certain locations which are very popular because of their oil deposits. So wherever you have a lot of oil deposits, so the companies will establish their equipments, and that's how they will be fetching the oil out from deep under the ground. Now in case of oil, it is a liquid, right? So it can be fetched directly using equipments. So unlike coal mining, where you create tunnels and you send people inside, so all those things are not much required. So here the equipments can do a lot of jobs. So that's how oil is being drilled. So oil is then pumped from below by oil rings and transported through pipelines or ship. So as you can see here, this is how the entire setup would look like. So once the oil is being pumped from below to above, so first the oil is fetched above. Now once the oil is being fetched here, and then using pipelines it is sent to various other locations. And ships are also used for transportation, because normally you will have these kind of oil deposits under the ocean. So ship also acts as good mode of transport. So now we will see how exactly do we separate the various constituents of petroleum. In fact, that is what is done inside a petroleum refinery. So what happens here is, it is an industrial plant where petroleum is separated into its various constituents. So now what we are going to see is how exactly this separation takes place inside a refinery. So we are going to understand the process of separating the constituents of petroleum. Now the process by which it happens, the separation happens, is a simple distillation process mostly. Now, what are the various components into which it gets divided? So let us quickly look at the various constituents. First is LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, and I'm sure all of you are very much known to this name, because LPG is something which is there inside your kitchen, inside the cylinders, which helps us in cooking. Petrol, kerosene, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin wax. So these are all various components of petroleum. So if we are able to separate petroleum into its constituents, we get each of these separately, and then we can use them in different ways. For example, petrol is used as a motor fuel. Diesel is also used as a motor fuel. Kerosene is used for lighting lamps. Lubricating oil is again used for lubrication to smoothen the surfaces in machineries. Paraffin wax is used for making candles and many other types of products. So that means different components can be used in different ways, but petroleum or the crude oil as such is not of much use to us. Therefore, this process of refining of petroleum is extremely important. Okay, so last but not the least, bitumen. It is extremely useful for construction of roads. So let us see how the process of petroleum processing takes place. So it is a simple distillation process which helps to obtain finished petroleum products. So what do we have? We have a chamber, a distillation chamber of this kind, which is often termed as a distillation column. And this is the crude oil. So the crude oil is being fed from this end, and in this chamber, the crude oil is heated. Now, as you heat this crude oil, what happens is different components of the crude oil, they have different boiling temperatures. So different components will boil at different temperatures, and as they boil, so each and every component will get collected in different sections of this column. That is why it is called a distillation column, because the entire tube is divided into chambers, and whichever component boils at a particular temperature, that will get collected at a particular chamber. So as you see here, the lowest temperature is at the top and the highest temperature is at the bottom. So those components which boil at higher temperatures, they will get collected here. A little lower temperature will get collected here, yet lower will get collected here. Finally, those which get boiled at the lowest temperature will get collected here. So that's how the components will get separated. So the lighter products, for example, LPG, will boil at lower temperature. So they will get collected towards the top of this distillation column, whereas the heaviest products like maybe paraffin wax or lubricating oil, they will get collected towards the higher end of the temperature. Sometimes, in fact, some of the products might even go to temperatures as higher as 1000 Fahrenheit as well. So now let us see how exactly we get the various components. So the topmost layer, that is the lowest temperature basically, that is occupied by the lighter gases like butane and other lighter components. The next section is taken up by petrol or gasoline, whatever you call it. Yet below that comes kerosene. Below that you get diesel or light gas oil. Below that you get heavy gas oil. And at the bottom, that is at the highest temperatures, you get stuffs like paraffin wax, lubricating oil, and others. So now all these things, they boil at different temperatures. For example, for petrol, they boil somewhere around 70 degrees Celsius. Again, if you talk about kerosene, they again boil somewhere around 120 or 130 degrees Celsius. The diesel, they boil above 200 degrees Celsius. Heavy gas oil, they boil somewhere around 300 degrees Celsius. So all of these components, they boil at different temperatures, and that's how we are able to segregate them. And then we can take out each of them separately from the same distillation column. So this is how petroleum gets separated into its components. So now let us quickly look at the importance of the various petroleum products. So we will start with LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas. It is a fuel which is used for domestic cooking purposes. So as you would have seen, the cylinders, inside your cylinders you have LPG. Petrol, it is a fuel for vehicles. So mostly your cars and bikes, they run on petrol. It is also used as a solvent for dry cleaning. So that way also it helps. Kerosene, it is used as an aviation fuel in the aircraft industry. So when you travel by flights, always remember that the fuel that is being used there. So you have kerosene playing an important role there. So it acts as the base fuel. It is also used as a solvent in a lot of stuffs like paints, cleaners, pesticides, etc. Diesel, again, it is also used for fuel, mostly for heavy vehicles. So if you see vehicles like trucks and vans, they mostly run on diesel. It is also used as a fuel for generators and motors you would have seen in your apartments and all. So they all run on diesel. Next is lubricating oil, which helps in lubrication. Now, for example, in a car, if you see, this lubricating oil plays a very important role because it helps to keep the moving parts of the engine from grinding together or from creating friction. So when the two surfaces become more rough, then too much of friction gets created. So lubrication helps to reduce that. It also plays a very important role in industries that operate a lot of machineries and vehicles, because there you have a lot of friction between different machine parts. So there also this lubricating oil turns out to be extremely useful. Paraffin wax, it is used to make candles, ointment, Vaseline. It is also used as a sealant for jars and bottles, so which actually helps to seal them. So that's some of the places where you see paraffin wax. And last but not the least, bitumen. It is extremely useful in construction of roads. Have you ever seen how roads are being constructed, or have you ever seen how roads are smoothed on the top? So if you have ever come across, you will see that bitumen is that substance which acts as a glue. So when it is mixed with aggregate particles, so it creates a concrete. So it acts as the glue. So when you put some small particles on the glue, so they all stick to it, and that's how the road is smoothened, or the smooth surface of the road is done with the help of bitumen. So bitumen is one very important component of petroleum. In fact, not only bitumen, if you look at petrol or diesel, they are also very much important, because due to their presence, the motor fuel, they all act as motor fuel. So many vehicles run on roads and most of them use petrol or diesel. It is also helpful in sealing flat roofs because of, again, wherever you have to seal something, wherever you have to put a layer of something, so anything which acts like glue will be helpful, and that's what bitumen does. So now we are going to discuss about the third fossil fuel, that is natural gas. So natural gas, it is a gas which is even lighter than air, and it is mostly composed of methane. However, it has small amounts of other gases too. It is highly inflammable, that is, it catches fire very easily. It is usually found near petroleum underground. So wherever you have the crude oil deposits, nearby to that you also find natural gas. So that's why, how do you extract it? The same process of oil drilling. So wherever oil drilling is done, that time only the natural gas is also extracted, because you actually know the locality where natural gas is present. It is pumped out and travels through pipelines. So this is another convenience with natural gas, that it can be transported very easily through pipes. In fact, these days natural gas has started substituting a lot of this LPG cylinders in the houses, because when it is so easy that the pipelines can just reach your houses and your demands are fulfilled, so that's a pretty easier way of doing things. Now, another important characteristic of natural gas is that it doesn't have any specific smell. So it is completely odorless. Now, that might make it a little more risky, because if a gas is odorless, you will not be able to detect the presence of that gas. But at the same time, the gas is highly inflammable, so it can catch fire very easily. So if there is no smell, so you will not be able to detect that gas, and it might catch fire very easily. Right? So what can be done? So that is why natural gas is mixed with some chemicals which are of very strong odor. So they have very strong smell, so that natural gas can have a specific smell, and that smell can detect the presence of natural gas. So whenever you get that smell, what do? You tend to keep the windows open so that the gas can just go out of that place. You tend to avoid using anything like a matchstick or so that it doesn't catch fire. So in order to bring a smell to the natural gas, some extra chemicals with strong smell are added to it. So that's a brief about natural gas. Now, why is natural gas so important? Now, we already saw how the drilling is done. Now, in natural gas, you do not really have any separate components as such. So, what makes natural gas different and important? So, one thing is, it is very easy to transport through pipeline. So, you really don't need a refinery. You don't need anything. You just bring the gas out from underground. Anywhere where you have crude oil deposits, nearby that you will have natural gas deposits as well, and then you start distributing it through pipelines. So very easy to transport. It can be used as a fuel in vehicles also, and the best part is that it can act as a better fuel in vehicles when compared to petrol or diesel. You know why? Because it causes very less pollution when compared to petrol and diesel. Because in case of petrol or diesel, when you burn them, they leave a lot of residue. So what is that residue? Those residue are nothing but they are the smoke producing causes. So they cause pollution. But in case of natural gas, they leave very small residue. So that ways it has two benefits. One is, since very less residue is left, that means the fuel is more efficient. So most of the fuel is getting utilized. So that ways it is more efficient. Secondly, there will be less smoke produced, so less environmental pollution. So we can maintain a cleaner environment by using natural gas as a motor fuel. That is why CNG, which is nothing but compressed natural gas. So this is compressed natural gas. So it is preferred as a motor fuel over petrol and diesel. In fact, in Delhi, a couple of years back, I think around 2006, the government has passed a notice stating that all the public transport vehicles, all the public buses, all the autos, everything need to run on CNG, and that's how it could reduce to a great extent the environmental pollution. So these are some of the very good benefits of natural gas, and that makes it very important, that makes it very different.
So children, I hope you found the video useful. If you have a feedback or a request which you want to make, please do share that in the comment section. We would be more than happy to hear from you. And I will meet you all very soon with a new video, with a new topic. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.